Hello peeps! So we are doing a little continuation of our Enhancement Rant here on Dear Orthodox New Year's, and I wish you all a happy new year. We got some 1900 solo shuffle in the background as eye candy, so let's start. So this video I want to focus more on how Blizzard can actually fix stuff for enhancement instead of just pointing out the problems simply. But first let's start with the current state of affairs. No changes, no buffs, no elemental nerfs. I don't hate elemental, by the way, I just like pointing out the difference in treatment that it gets compared to enhancement, because I'm convinced that the Shaman developer is a die-hard elemental restoration with no care for enhancement gamer, you know. But absolutely nothing so far as future patches are considered, so basically as it sits right now, as I'm recording this, enhancement shamans have been left in the dirt. But we enhancement enjoyers still love it and can at least give some ideas. So first, I will start off with things that I think they can literally just hotfix into the game or add it in like one reset. And then I will go into like more bigger things that will need more work from Blizzard and will need maybe a few patches or like a bigger patch to come out. One thing I would say is that, especially after getting 2 tire items, that damage feels really good. Like having a 2 set is like really good for enhancement, and I don't think damage is like what hinders enhancement in the... Really, I think the survivability and like lack of good mobility and utility is what really is the problem. So things that could basically be hotfixed or added in the near future. Tunings, they could actually just try and tune the class PvP wise. Maybe pulling back on certain previous nerfs, simply lessening those nerfs a bit. The Maelstrom nerf hit all builds, I think, both offensively and defensively. So maybe pulling back on those at least healing wise, so you don't have to take every single healing talent available just to live, or you can actually like invest your talent points not just into your heals. They could simply buff Astral Shift for enhancement, leave the same for other specs. Like 5% or 10% more damage reduction for enhancement, I think that could be good. So at least when you pop your wall, you can focus on damage, not still have to be casting healing globals like every 2 globals. Ultimately, that's like the broken part about Enhance, that even if your heals are OP, you still are forced to use globals on those heals. Like as your defensive, and as Enhance has no passive defense other than really Earth Shield heals. Making a Lightning Shield give Maelstrom on spell hits. I feel like I'm so Maelstrom start versus casters, since they kite you, you're immobile, they kite your ass, and then like if you use your spell, you're on like damage, you're just screwed. You can die like in one bad spell usage. Because like they don't proc Maelstrom when they hit you, like Demon Lock maybe procs it, but like that's it. That segues us into what I think Blizzard could, do that might take some time. So some sort of passive defense. Ideas like when you have a totem out, each totem gives you a certain amount of damage reduction. Maelstrom stacks gives a defensive buff, making shamans have to hold, their spells basically for defense, and then use them accordingly. I personally would say the main problem with Enhance is survivability, and the only form of constant defense comes from the heals. There's nothing that gives you defense regularly, really. You got one wall and heals, and that's kinda it, I don't know, bringing back Shamanistic Rage in some way to Enhance, giving them at least the ability to use their, wall instance with maybe some other passive component. Like no mana cost on heals or other defensive utility. Something like the previously mentioned Maelstrom damage reduction, you could give that to the Shamanistic Rage. So if you have like 10 Maelstrom, you have another, 10%, 15%, whatever, damage reduction. So like some kind of interactive thing, for your defense, like, so it's not just like, oh, her, give them defense. But like they could also, by the way, they could just also hotfix, I forgot to mention this, but like they could just hotfix like a 3% defense buff. Like shamans are just 3% tankier, they don't tank. Like why wouldn't they just do that? Like if I feel like there's things that they could just do for us instantly as well, like just 3% defense buff to all other classes, and like maybe that could help, but like I don't know. So like something, yeah, like I said, something like the previously damaged Maelstrom buff could be added to the Shamanistic Rage. But to be honest with you, like I'm just not sure Blizzard wants to do like much stuff about enhancement. So like that's like every time I'm thinking about these things, I'm sorry like that I'm cutting it a little bit out here. I would just say cutting in with this, but like every time I think about these things, I just think about how Blizzard just doesn't care, man, about enhancement. Like, ironically, doesn't care. Like, so I don't know. I'm uncertain. Every time I think about it, like, okay, is there any point even like thinking about these things? Because like right now, like warriors are getting changed. Every single, I think, other class that's had any kind of trouble, any bad talent, any kind of bad thing, you know, like is getting changed. You know, feral druids that are like doing extremely good as far as PvP is considered, are, you know, getting changed, but like nothing for shamans. Like they've not shown anything for shamans, so I'm just uncertain if like, is there like a point, will they actually help us, like will they actually change the shaman? I'm kind of lucky, you know, for me not being the shaman, the main spec, or kind of being a multi-classer, I guess, so you know, having the ability to change my class and not only like liking one class, one playstyle. But I feel like I don't understand how Blizzard doesn't understand how like it's such a bad thing for their game not to care about the specialization so much, like not to ever want to help them or like anything. So kind of to stop that kind of rant about this, I'll just kind of, I guess, try to think of more stuff we could add, like also like something that I forgot to also mention that would also need more time is Feral Lunge. So Feral Lunge is, I think, one of the worst mobility abilities in the game. It's just the worst ability in the game, like the worst mobility ability in the game. It's a charge, so it has the same range as charge. Give me 1 second. So it has the same range as charge, but it doesn't root. It deals piss poor damage, and like I don't know, like it's a 30-second cooldown compared to like 17 seconds for charge. So I just don't understand like how Blizzard has not come up with, I don't know, anything that the ability can do, like anything that it could do other than just like a piss poor, very bad version of charge with a you know, like a version of charge with a bad cooldown with no root effect on it. So like it doesn't like actually keep your target in place when you're charging towards the target can blink, do whatever to, you know, get away. So like doing something for the mobility, I think, is an idea, definitely, especially since they were able to give a spirit walk to elemental and restoration, you know, even if they're using like the gust of wind thing, but like I feel like it's a thing that enhancement like should have some other mobility as a melee spec, but it just really like depends if those whole things ultimately depends if Blizzard wants to add them. Here I'm kind of done with, I think, the ideas that I've had. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the video so far. You know, enjoyed my ideas about what Blizzard can do with Enhancement Shamans. We're gonna enjoy the last match here, the last round of the Soul Shuffle. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm gonna pump here very hard. I think I'm gonna spoil that, but I'm gonna be very, very pumping hard here in this round. But yeah, man, like, I don't know. They could fix Enhancement Shamans so easily, I feel like, but like, it really all depends. It just all really all depends if like Blizzard is willing to actually invest time, but like I don't know. Right now, like there's no changes, so like what you know, the damage is fine, survivability is not fine. It's really painful. Like I'm a multi-classer, sure, but like it's just like when I go from like Demon Hunter, or like I go play a little bit of Death Knight, or I play a little bit of Warrior. Even Warrior, by the way, like it doesn't feel so painful. It doesn't feel so painful, and I feel like yeah, they can like try and help us not feel so much pain by giving us some kind of defense. Like just give some. If ultimately if they can't come up with an idea, just give a 5% damage reduction to Enhancement Shaman period. In PvP, just do it, you know, just give them something like that and that should be done. Yeah, here I'm gonna start pumping again because that Knight has his pets out. Get that Crash Lightning buff of mod damage. And we go 4 and 2. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, boys and girls. Like, share, subscribe, and all those good things. And have a good night or day, whatever it is, where you are.